remember on the airplane on the way to Washington, I fell asleep on the tray, and the elder next to me started taking random photos of me sleeping. And then I woke up and I had a huge bruise on my forehead from sleeping on the tray. So my new mission president got to greet me while I had this great big mark on my forehead. And then we went to the mission home, and I remember he gave us a rundown of all the zones that we could serve in. And I remember when he said Maple Valley, I was like, that's where I want to go. But I had no idea where I was going to go. Maple Valley just sounded like a good place to go. And then we get interviewed, and then we met our first companion. And I knew the moment that he called up the trainers first. So I knew the moment that he called up my trainer that she was mine. It was really weird. Like, when you're a missionary, you're really in tune with the Spirit. Even though it was like my first day in the field, I knew like exactly who my companion was and where I was going. It was the weirdest thing. So he called her up. It was Hermana Lovelace. He was like, Hermana Casper, this is your new companion. You're going to Maple Valley. And I was like, I knew it. Called it. And then we drove out to Maple Valley, which was like an hour away from Mercer Island, which is a really nice island. It's very classy. But so we get into the field. We have an appointment, so I don't think we even go home. We go straight to the appointment. It's a dinner appointment with this American family and a part-time Spanish family. And the American family doesn't speak any Spanish, so we're having to like translate between the Hispanics and them. And I don't speak any Spanish either, so I'm sitting there like completely silent, like not saying anything. And I remember, I think his name was Jose, and he kept turning to me and trying to say in like his broken English, like, it's okay, you can talk. And I was like, I know, but I don't know how to say anything. And then after we ate dinner with him, and then we taught a lesson about eternal families. And I remember not knowing how to say anything about eternal families in Spanish, so I was just like talking with my hands. I was trying to talk about like a ceiling, and I just kept doing this, and I was like, does this make sense? ¿Me entiende? Like, you're forever linked. And they just like looked at me like it was weird. But I mean, it was a great first experience. None of them hated me or laughed at me. They just kind of like gave me this weird look. But I just kept trying to talk in my broken Spanish, and they would respond in their broken English, trying to help me out. And I remember the first night I invited, his name was Adam, to be baptized. Was it Adam? Yeah, it was Adam. And he said yes. And it was just such a neat experience to have like your first commitment be accepted. And then we went home. We helped me unpack for like 10 minutes before we had to do all our other stuff. And then the next day I finally got like a good look at Washington. And Washington is so green. Like, everything is green. I'm from Texas and nothing is green. Our cactuses are green and that's about it. But everything was green. Like, the dirt was green. There was like moss on the dirt and moss on the roofs. And I just remember like always saying like, why is everything green? Like, that's not supposed to be green. It's supposed to be brown. It's a tree. But like, everything was green. And it was always raining. Like, it's called the Seattle drizzle, where it's not like downpouring, but it's just there's always like a slight drizzle going on. Because I got in there at the beginning of the end of the winter season, and so winter season is rainy season. So it's just constantly drizzling. In Texas, when it rains, it downpours like 3 times a year. And so I was like expecting a downpour, because they always say it rains in Seattle. But it's just like a constant drizzle, and there's no thunder or lightning. So that was a culture shock for me, because I'm used to thunder and lightning. And it was, I don't know, it was crazy. The first week you're completely lost, but you're like a deer in the headlights, so you're confused, but you're also a really excited puppy dog that like wants to talk to everyone and say everything that you just learned in the MTC. But since you're nervous at the same time, you can't get all your words out, and then you just end up like making a fool out of yourself for like probably like the first month. And your companion's just like, yep, this is my greenie. She follows me like a puppy dog, because you're confused because you don't know what to do, and your trainer doesn't know how to tell you, because they can't tell you everything to do. So you ended up just like following your trainer around, and I like literally did that. I was always next to her. And you're supposed to stay together, but you didn't have to follow your companion.